Yo guys, Codelife here. So in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about the recent blog post that Epic Games made regarding a very important change to the Fortnite competitive ruling. The specific rule that I'm talking about here is a rule called Collusion, which for those that don't know what this rule is, pretty much what it is it's a form of teaming where two or more players will work together to deceive or otherwise cheat other players during any match. Now, you guys might be thinking right now, surely this doesn't happen in competitive with the pro players, right? Well guys, you'd be surprised, but it actually does. It's happened for a while now, and it's actually become very common. This has happened ever since the Fortnite World Cup, where pro players have unintentionally been colluding with each other via pickaxe swinging. If you guys remember, about a month ago, I did a bunch of videos on this whole colluding thing and pickaxe swinging itself, as that's when it did start to get really popular about a month ago. But quickly, for those that are watching right now and have no idea what pickaxe swinging is, I'll give you all a rundown. So, pickaxe swinging is where you or another player swing your pickaxe at each other to signal that you don't want to fight them or they don't want to fight you, sort of like how a truce works. Typically, if two players pickaxe swing at each other, like in each other's direction, that usually forms a mutual agreement for both of them to not to fight one another. The reason I say usually here is because both players do have the opportunity to break this sort of truce that's happening at any time if they would like to. You've got to remember, it is a player-to-player interaction / signal between the both of them, so if one of them breaks it, they break it, and if they don't break it, they don't. The whole point of them doing this though was so that the players involved in doing it would avoid unnecessary conflict and be able to rotate safely to the next zone. Which guys, I know this is collusion, but you have to remember that this is a very smart strategy considering the lack of mobility in the game right now, and even back then. Because of there being no mobility in the game, that's why the whole pickaxe swinging strategy or peace treaty signaling became so popular in the first place. Like, it became so popular guys that pro players like Mongrel and Benji Fishy were doing this on livestream, and because of that happening, like them doing it on livestream, it caused a bunch of players in the community that play arena games, cash cups, and even more to all do this sort of pickaxe swinging thing at each other. Which, because of that happening, and because of how popular it got, I think that's the exact reason why Epic Games decided to come out and fully clarify this rule. This rule, before it did get updated, was really vague. I did explain why it was so vague in my other videos, but I'll quickly read it out for you all right now so you can understand just how vague it was. So the previous rule said this: communication, sending or receiving signals, both verbal and non-verbal, to communicate with opposing players. That was one of the rules that did match the closest to pickaxe swinging that was under the whole collusion rule. And as you guys just heard right there, that rule could have, and it was, taken anyway because of how unspecific it was. Now though, that all changes guys, as Epic Games have came out with their blog post to let everyone know that they have updated the collusion rule. And this time it is a lot more specific, but it's a little bit too specific in my opinion, and I'll let you know why in just a second after I show you guys this new rule. The new collusion rule states this: doing any kind of in-game communication between opponents via signaling in official tournament matches. This includes, but is not limited to, pickaxe swinging, emoting, toy tossing, jumping, will result in a teaming / collusion penalty, aka banned from Fortnite from Epic Games. So as you guys just heard right there, Epic Games have indeed made it more specific than it previously was, but like I just mentioned, I think they did make this rule a little bit too specific, especially when they said jumping. To me, and actually many pro players out there, that clause where it says jumping could be literally taken so many different ways. They've done it again where they just put something in the ruling that's so vague that literally it could be taken any way. My main concern is how they are going to actually enforce this jumping rule. Like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, when I play Fortnite, I'm constantly jumping around like every 10 seconds or so. The reason for why I do this is for two reasons. One, it's to make it so that no one can line up an easy shot or snipe on me, so that's why I jump around. And two, I actually find it quite fun to do, same with pickaxe swinging randomly. I know that might sound weird, but it's sort of like a habit that I've got, and I didn't just have that habit in Fortnite, I had the same one with CSGO, where I just randomly switch out to my knife. I'm pretty sure there will be some of you out there that do have similar habits, especially with the jumping one. That's not really a habit, but it's something what people have got sort of ingrained into the gameplay, where they just do it without thinking about it. Like, I don't think there's anyone out there that's just running straight and isn't having a bit jump now and then to avoid getting that easy sniper shot lined up on you. My question though about this, guys, is where does the line get drawn to this rule? Like, say that I am just rotating across the map and I do my usual habit of jumping randomly and swinging my pickaxe now and then. What happens if during that rotation I do make eye contact with another player? Will that be classed as collusion, and like, could I get banned for that? I hope not, but the rule is that sort of vague, like where it says jumping, it sounds like I could very well get banned for that. Even if I've got no intention to collude or anything like that, it seems like from this rule alone, just reading what's being said, I could technically get banned for doing something as simple as that, and that really does worry me. I'm not alone in worrying about this either, guys, as when Epic Games did announce this blog post about all of these updates to that one specific rule, a bunch of pro players like Benji Fishy, Clicks, Metro and many more all came out and said something similar to what I'm saying here. Them themselves went onto Twitter and started asking questions like if something as simple as jumping could get you banned from Fortnite. It might sound like they were trolling or look like they were trolling, guys, but they weren't. When they say jumping, it does sound like you can in fact get banned for something as simple as jumping. I'm not saying that you will get banned for literally jumping, guys, like I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just saying that whole jumping rule can be taken a few different ways. Epic Games though did go on into this blog post to sort of try and clarify it a little bit more, but really what they stated wasn't exactly perfect. Like, it didn't really sound like it was anything to do with what they previously stated. What they did state is pacifism style gameplay is still allowed, but they also said, and this is the bit that confused me a little bit, they said that if signaling is involved, they'll review the gameplay and take appropriate action for the teaming / collusion penalty. Again, I want to know exactly what this signaling means, because I'm sorry, but if I jump unintentionally and make eye contact with another player, that does not mean that I'm colluding or signaling in any way, but after reading these rules, it could be taken that way from Epic Games. To be honest, they really shouldn't have put that jumping bit in there. To me, it does sound a little bit too far. Everything else, like the pickaxe swinging, the emote tossing, and all of that sounded great, keep that in, but jumping, a bit too far. But yeah, pretty much what this means, guys, is pickaxe swinging is indeed now bannable. I know in previous videos of mine we were sort of questioning if this is or not, but now we all know the answer, which is good. So if there are any of you guys out there that do pickaxe swing to this day, I definitely recommend that you guys don't do it anymore, as these rules are now in place. Well, they have been in place since the 20th. Guys, don't do it or risk it, as Epic Games will punish you for it. For this rule in particular, guys, they have made it really strict as well, as Epic Games have literally suggested in this blog post that people snitch if they do see any collusion happening in the game. Which, by the way, this is another thing where I can see people snitching on people who aren't intentionally doing it, and that could cause problems. So I'm hoping that when Epic Games do get these reports from people, they do a thorough investigation to find out if it is intentional collusion or not, as I can feel like there'll be people out there that literally snitch on you for literally just swinging your pickaxe and jumping in the air. Like, that wouldn't surprise me at all. But yeah, guys, that's the rule update for you all. In my opinion, overall, I am glad that they clarified it, to be honest, as like I said in my previous video on this, if there was a new spectator to Fortnite, like say if they were watching the next World Cup or something, and like let's say they've never watched Fortnite before, if they seen something going on in this World Cup game, like what we're seeing going on in Mongrel's stream, where literally there's a bunch of pro players just pickaxe swinging at each other and moving around in this sort of group that looks like they're all teaming, you'd have to admit that that would look really crazy if you've never watched any Fortnite before. They would be literally so confused, and they'd probably think it's like staged or something. So because of that, you do have to see where Epic Games is coming from for enforcing this rule even more, even though they did go a little bit too far with the jumping bit. Overall though, I can see it from Epic Games' perspective, and honestly guys, it is a good move. But yeah, that's all I've got for today's video. If you guys did enjoy this or found it interesting at all, be sure to drop a like on it, subscribe to my channel if you aren't already, and use code Codelife in the Fortnite item shop when you do purchase any skins. #ad. By doing any of these three, guys, you will be helping me out a ton, and it really is appreciated. And yeah, that's all from me today, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have a great day. Peace.